All right, welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The board will be entering into executive session under GL 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation on the matter of 809 Sandwich Road and 0 Sandwich Road, Lot 003, East Falmouth, where discussion in open session would have a detrimental impact on the town's litigation position. Following the executive session, the board will reconvene in open session and will invite the public back to the meeting at that time.
I make a motion to that effect.
Second.
We have a motion by Frank and a second by Jim. Roll call.
Benjamin, aye. Peterson, aye.
Duffy, aye.
Murphy, aye.
Morse, aye.
Petrucci, aye.
Any aye. There's Mud.
We're good.
Aye.
Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Again, thank you all for your patience. Please silence all cell phones and note that this meeting is being taped by FCTV. Any private party recording this hearing, please step up to the podium to request permission. I'll introduce the board and the staff. On my far right is Mark Finneran. To his left is Scott Peterson. To my right is Frank Duffy, the clerk. I'm Suzanne Murphy, the chair. To my left is James Morse, the vice chair, and to his left, Tony Petrucci, and then we have Nick Haney. Noreen Stockman is our zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, office assistant. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town's zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to closing the hearing process and reaching a decision. Number one, to begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. Two, the applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation. Time may be extended by vote of the board. Three, the board will then question the applicant. Four, the public will then be invited to comment. Comment should be limited to 2 minutes and be strictly related to the proposal. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair and should come up to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Speak into the mic. It will not amplify your voice and record audio for FCTV viewers. And before we take up the first hearing, if anyone wants to make a public comment on anything that's not on our agenda tonight, you're welcome to come up. Anybody? So our first is a request for a continuation for 07125 Fashion Food LLC. Want to make me a motion?
I can't, I have to recuse on this one.
Oh,
Madam
sorry.
Chairman. Otherwise, I'd be happy to.
Want to make me a motion, Scott? I can make the motion.
Yes, you can.
I can make my own motion, you are correct. We are continuing Fashion Food LLC with their request to February 26th. I will need a second.
That's Wendy's. In case they didn't know who it was.
It's Wendy's. Fashion Food LLC equals Wendy's. So we have a motion and a second,
What was the date again? Sorry.
February 26th.
February 26th.
Ready to vote?
Sure.
All those in favor?
Duffy
Opposed, none.
abstained.
More
Two
abstentions.
abstentions.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Then we just had a request to pull something out of order, and it's 06120 M Echo Land Development LLC, 0 Percival.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. For the record, Peter Freeman, representing Echo, the applicant, and Ed Montero is here, and also Brian Wall, the attorney who represents the neighbors who had filed an appeal. It's one of the few times I think I'll need far less than my 5 minutes or whatever it is. So as my letter dated January 20th, 2026 said, we worked out a settlement rather than going to trial. We appreciate the effort by the neighbors and Mr. Wall. So what we have done, as the request in my letter says, we have, at the neighbor's request, asked that you modify the permit by getting rid of the requirement, the condition for a fence, that we have more robust landscaping that's spelled out in great detail, including on a plan that I attached, colored plan, for ease of reference. And thirdly, that we change, I'm not even sure this needed approval, but we put it in there, full disclosure. My client has agreed to provide water lines off of his new water main to the plaintiffs. There were 3 parties, the Coltoris, Patricia Harris, and Oberholtz. So we're going to bring lines up to the lot lines, and if they want to have the town water, they can do that. So that, in essence, is the request for the change. We think that it certainly is insubstantial under the 40B regulations. Nothing else changes. The number of units is the same, bedrooms, the location, the plans, everything is exactly the same. It's just asking you to bless this agreement with the neighbors, which is really a win-win for everybody. I think Brian may want to say a couple of words, but it's a win-win because the project will go forward, the plaintiffs are happy, excuse me, and there will be 3 new affordable homes for Falmouth residents, first-time home buyers. So I'll stop there. Brian, if you want to say anything, and then if you have questions, of course, I can answer or Ed can answer. Thanks.
Thank you, Attorney Freeman.
Good evening. Through the chair, members of the board, I'm Brian Wall. I represent the 3 abutters that Mr. Freeman mentioned, Dan Coltori, Patricia Harris, and Mr. and Mrs. Overholtz. I'm not going to repeat what Peter said. I would just simply like to say that my clients did have some concerns with the permit. They did appeal, and after a couple of years of litigation, the parties engaged in extensive negotiations, and they reached this agreement that essentially calls for some enhanced planting along the property line shared with the abutters, which, again, I'm going to share Mr. Freeman's words. We think it's a win-win. It provides some screening for my clients, but it also provides screening for the new owners of the homes that will be built. And secondly, during the course of the litigation, it was discovered that there was a conflict between some drainage proposed by the developer and some existing water lines that served Mr. Coltori and Ms. Harris's property. And so we reached an agreement where those lines are going to be abandoned so that the drainage can go in, and the exchange for that was to provide new water lines from the new water main. My clients support this and request that the board approve the proposed changes to the permit and as an insubstantial change as well. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Want a motion?
Get a motion.
Jim's got it.
You got it?
Sure. Just
Okay.
for the purpose of the record and anyone else in the audience or watching, 760 CMR has very specific criteria as to what constitutes a substantial change. Everything that's proposed this evening does not qualify. So make a motion, Madam Chairman, pursuant to 760 CMR 56.074D, that the changes proposed are insubstantial and to allow them.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Jim and, was it Scott? Mark, sorry. Everybody all set? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, then we move on to 06525 Habitat. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board, Warren Brody for Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod. Just to remind you, when we were last here, we had recently received a peer review letter from Beals and Thomas dated December 2nd, 2025. We needed some additional time to respond to that. The response has taken the form of a letter from Horsley Witten Group, Mr. Joe Henderson, who's here tonight, which resulted in various changes to our plans and responses to the individual comments made in the peer review letter. I think I would leave it to Mr. Henderson to address the changes that have been made and any questions that you have, if I may.
Sounds like a plan. Great. Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Madam Chair, is it all right if I share some?
Let's do it.
TV's on. One.
All right, so what I'm showing here is our updated site plan. As Attorney mentioned, we have responded to all the comments from the peer reviewer. There were 73 comments. We just did an individual response to each. But I thought what I would do here is pull out some of the changes to the plans that resulted from those comments, and then pull out some of the other, maybe more important, or it seems like what was the most critical items that we had talked about at past meetings. And then from there, I can field any questions related to that peer review letter or anything else. So I guess the first thing that I wanted to show is that, maybe I can zoom in or not, but I'll just point with the cursor. We've added a pull-off for the mail kiosk. That was one of the comments. So there's now an area to pull off the main entrance drive if you're picking up your mail. There was a comment about the driveways and making sure that the cars could park outside of the right-of-way in the driveways. And so we made an adjustment. It was only one lot that it affected, so we adjusted the driveway for Lot 1. So now all the lots have 2 parking spaces outside the right-of-way. We also added pole lighting to each individual home. So each home, similar to what's shown or what was done at Willett Way, there'll be a pole light at each home that will be controlled and come on at dusk or provide lighting throughout the subdivision. So there'll be 14 of those throughout the
May I ask a question at this
Sure.
point, Madam Chair? All right, so you're putting light poles, 2 things, at the end of every driveway that are going to come on every night. Who's maintaining those lights? How are they going to be maintained?
So I think they would be the homeowner's responsibility.
Well, I know that, but
Yep.
the whole idea of giving up streetlights, this is a safety issue. All right? It's a very dark area. It's a safety issue. The proposal you're providing right now is that the homeowners, individual private homeowners, will be responsible for lighting up the neighborhood. And if they don't do that, then it defeats the whole purpose. But you have a homeowners association who could become responsible for that. And the other part of that is that, are these docks not compliant? Because that's too much to ask. Dark sky friendly, because you're taking a beautiful forested area, and now you're adding all of this light. So are they going to be dark sky friendly lights?
They can be dark sky friendly, they can be downlit, but the other thing is these will only be 6 feet tall, the poles, so they're not going to have a large spread of light outside of the
All
neighborhood.
right, so I would, just to finish up, I would hope that this board would require you to have dark sky friendly, and we all have, there is a definition for that, versus imposing dark sky compliant, which is more costly. But the issue is maintenance of those lights. Why would this board give up the safety issue to an individual homeowner without a guarantee of maintenance when you have a homeowners association? And we also have an issue there about how much the homeowners association monthly or yearly dues are, because they're never going to be able to suffice. But the bottom line is, that's a concern I think this board has to consider, is maintenance of the lights, or then just put lights in the street and have the homeowners association maintain those. So that's something I'm going to certainly bring up again before the end of this whole thing.
Sure, yeah, and right now, the proposal is to put in the pole-mounted lights from the, from the homes. So,
But is anybody hearing what I'm saying? May I ask the attorney, is he hearing what I'm saying?
I am hearing what you're saying. I happen to live in a homeowners association in Waquoit that requires us to have our, a light at the end of our driveway that's lit from dusk till dawn, and we do that.
But it's part of the homeowners association.
Every individual homeowner maintains their own light, and I don't know of anybody who isn't maintaining their own light.
So we can condition.
Yes, that's all I want to get across.
It's a condition in our homeowners association covenants,
No, I
actually.
appreciate that. I just wanted to hear it from you, that's all.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And we can certainly insert something of that nature in our covenants.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
great, thanks. So I guess I'll move on to the other item that we had talked about extensively, was the wall at the last hearing. So we've made an adjustment to our entrance drive. We've shifted it to the west. So now the entirety of the eastern wall will be saved. It's not going to be removed or rebuilt or anything as part of the project. The consequence is that the western wall would have to be relocated and rebuilt. So we would
With the
have.
same material?
Same material, yep, rebuild the wall. The other good news.
Same fashion as well, call it the left side, east side?
So I think what we would
Or
look
as
into
close as you
doing.
can?
It appears to be a mortared wall, so there may be the ability to take it apart in pieces and then take chunks of it away and bring it back. So Habitat is looking into some masons that can advise on that aspect of it, but the intention is to rebuild the wall with the same materials or take it apart in large pieces.
As close to,
Correct.
You know.
Yep. So like I said, the eastern side will remain as is. And the other part that we talked about was the site distance, right? The site distance lines. We had gone ahead and I have a figure here I can share. So we produced the site, a site distance exhibit as part of the request from the peer reviewer and the board. So what we found in doing this is that you can see the wall itself is entirely outside of the site triangle, so therefore it is not impeding the site distance for vehicles coming to a stop here at the end of the proposed road. So they can, again, it can stay as is. It can have the large, tall, portion of it is set far enough back from the road.
Not an issue.
That it's not an issue. So we did do that analysis. Obviously, we've sent this to Beals and Thomas to review as part of their due diligence in our response letter. So we did look at that, and it's promising that it will be able to remain.
So
May I
just
ask
for
a question?
cla-
I'm sorry. No, sorry.
Just for clarification, so it mentions you have the 200 feet at a low speed. Is the low speed 20 miles an hour?
I think it's 30 miles an hour.
30 miles per
That's typically what the traffic engineers. The other part of this, we did, collaborate with the traffic engineer, Vanessa Associates, who, this is kind of what they do more often. So they're on board with this particular, all the details of this, the 200 feet, the 14.5-foot offset from the road to the site triangle line. So that's all been coordinated with them. And not that it really doesn't matter, the height of the wall was a question before, but because the wall is set far enough back, it is not an issue with the height.
So it was a 2.5 feet
Close
issue.
to original, I think, is
Yeah, so the
going to
2.5
make people happy.
The 2.5 feet was mentioned in the traffic. That accounts for a foot of snow on top of the wall. So the actual object eye vision sight is 3.5 feet.
So it's a moot point because it's not in the line of vision.
Correct. Yep.
Madam Chair, my concern would be, how will the west side of the wall be demonstrated on a plan, since if we approve this, we'd be approving per plans. So will you have materials and manner of rebuilding on the plan?
So right now, our plans do show, you can see here, this is the wall, the new version of the wall to the same exact footprint as the old. It's hard to see here, but there's a highlighted section. This is where the old wall was. So we're sliding it over maybe 20 feet to the west.
I think that's great.
So-
It's really great.
Yeah, it was great to, yep. So that was the site distance and the wall discussion, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the sidewalks. There was a request for a waiver of sidewalks as part of our application, and the peer review did recommend sidewalks, so we have, the applicant doesn't feel that sidewalks would be warranted here at this site. We looked at the surrounding neighborhoods. There's no sidewalks on Needles or Cameron. The closest sidewalks are actually out at Wild Harbor and out to Old Main. So that was one kind of point that we wanted to just mention to the board. The other was,
May I just get some input on your sidewalk rationale? The rationale is that you did not put them at Willow Way, and there are several other places that previous board did not require you to do. I'm not a big fan of sidewalks, but they become a safety issue. The argument I think you're making is that, well, you didn't approve that, you didn't require that last time, so why would you require it this time? But that completely, you negate the whole safety issue. If you aren't going to put the sidewalks in, is it because they're not required for the safety of the community? Who cares if a previous board didn't put it in, didn't require it? Is it because you've covered the safety issue, the children walking on the street, the children being picked up, getting off buses? Is that really why you don't want the
I
sidewalk?
think based on Habitat's experience, a development of this density, they don't typically include a sidewalk.
That's not what I'm asking. Our peer says you should put a sidewalk in. And I have to believe that's because of safety. The argument is, well, you didn't require it on someplace else. Is it that safety is now compromised, or there is no compromising safety?
Well, I think Habitat feels there's no compromise in safety.
All right, I can't take that any further. I appreciate that, thank you.
Can I just
You want to
address
speak to that?
briefly? Yeah, whether or not it's been allowed, not allowed, various places, the issue isn't whether it's been done elsewhere or what it would cost even. The issue is, what do you need sidewalks for? Is it important to have a sidewalk so you get from one house to another? Is that really the use that we're concerned about?
No.
And the only thing I can see is maybe people going down to get their mail at the kiosk would want to have a sidewalk going down there.
I'm asking the question because of the argument that was made in the response. And what my concern is, children primarily, I realize this is a cul-de-sac, well, a cul-de-sac it is. And there probably is a low safety factor here, but the argument wasn't that there wasn't a safety issue, it was that, well, the board never required this before. So what you're saying is, in your professional belief, there is no safety hazard by not having a sidewalk there.
I would agree with that. I would say it's a matter of usefulness. The sidewalk is really not that useful in a small subdivision like this.
Okay.
People aren't going from house to house around the circle. If they are, they can go straight across the circle.
All right, just one board member, that's all.
Thank you.
I think the last, that was the last kind of plan item I wanted to talk through. The last thing I just wanted to go over was, as Warren had said, that we've submitted the supplemental materials to Beals and Thomas, and so the board knows we're planning to meet with them to review our responses. We'll And then we'll, hopefully at the next hearing, we'll be able to report that we've, everything's been agreed to and all the peer review comments have been addressed. So we've kind of had preliminary discussions to meet with them kind of the middle of the second week of February. And with that, I'll just take any other questions that the board may have.
Want to start down there, Mark? Do you have a question?
We get back on the sidewalk issue. I mean, I personally think it's important for people to safely traverse the neighborhood to Benjamin Nyes Road, but that's my opinion. Other than that, I'm glad you saved the wall, and I'm sure the neighborhood is happy as well. It's a nice feature, item. But that's really about it at the moment. You pretty much covered the rest. And
Could you respond to comment 13 in the document, please?
Peer review comment 13?
Well, we have some abutters, and they're not on town water, they're on wells. And right now, when you have potential detection limits, obviously over the next 5 or 10 or 20 years, those detection limits are going to be reduced. Has no one looked at the potential? We just had an applicant come in front of us where the developer ran a couple of water lines and stubbed them off. Has there been no thought process on potentially doing the same thing for these abutters?
So we've had some discussion about the water line. We are bringing the water line halfway down the frontage of the property, as that's what's required by the water department. And, the point of that is to give it more accessibility for the abutters. But again, it'd probably take another 200-plus feet of 8-inch water main to bring the water to in front of the nearest abutter. But I think if there was an abutter directly in front of the water main, they could connect to what we're showing.
Okay. Like to see them protected a little bit more, but I understand your response. Comment number 17, you're proposing a 5 milligram per liter system. I was just wondering, Noreen, with the Board of Health, is it 5 milligrams now, or is it 3 milligrams? I forgot what the new regulation was. Is it for 5 or?
It's either 5 or 10. I think that the town has got to 3 with their treatment plant, but that's a different scenario than,
I'm pretty sure it's a consistent 10.
Yeah, typically, I think the lowest I've seen is 10 for, and that's
They
just
do
a
it,
system
yeah.
less than 10,000 gallons per day, which falls under Title V. Obviously, a system over 10,000 is a whole different ballpark. But the system we're proposing, the Nitrex, is treating to wastewater treatment plant levels and beyond. The groundwater discharge permit requires 10 milligrams per liter or less, and that's for anything bigger than 10,000. So this is significantly even less than that.
They are known to treat to less.
The nitrate, we kind of set a point, but you see some of these systems treating to less than that.
Yeah.
And not zero, obviously, but
Maybe not consistently, but they can.
like a monthly
Most right,
average.
They can hit 5.
They do, yeah, they do hit 5 on a regular basis.
Which is,
A conventional septic is 35, so like just a regular septic in someone's home is, the effluent's about 35 total nitrogen.
Just taking me back to the site distance on the 200 feet, was there anything that was proposed that could have increased that site distance, or there was nothing fundamentally there that would have, there was a tree that was talked about?
So the tree, we did look at the tree, but because the tree, it wasn't really, it was just a one narrow object.
Right.
Talking with the traffic engineer, they didn't feel like it was a substantial obstruction. The tree is also, it's in the town's right-of-way, so it would have to be, we'd collaborate with the town, if it did ultimately need to come down.
Can I just
Go ahead.
go back to the water line? I mean, if there's any neighbors who
would like to be on town water, if you communicate to the water department, they quite likely will extend down to you, because I'm aware that it would be their wish to loop it to Wild Harbor, which would benefit everybody. So anybody that wants to hitch up to the water should make it be known to the water department, and knock on wood, beg, give them a coupon, whatever.
It's in the coupons.
That's all.
Giving us coupons
In his
tonight.
coupons tonight.
Frank, do you have any questions?
I have one more.
Oh, you have one more, sorry, Scott.
Yeah, sorry. Over to comment 58.
Found the letter here, I can get it for you. Got it.
The applicant is confident that soil testing was done according to the best practices. So I just wanted you to mention that you did do it according to best practices.
The soil test pits? Yeah, I did them myself, so.
Okay.
Yes, we did do them per the standard for Title V, right? That's the ones related to the septic.
Correct.
Which is up at a higher elevation, maybe 20 feet above the groundwater that was observed. But we did also dig a test pit in the low area, because we always want to try to find groundwater and actually see it. And then we use a soil redoxymorphic features to estimate the seasonal high.
And then the 100-year storm event, that would just spill over into that, kind of that depression area on stormwater?
Yeah, anything that didn't infiltrate on its own would go into that area. Yep, and I think we depict the limit, the extent of that storm on the plan, so you can see that it's all self-contained within that area.
I appreciate your efforts. There was 73 comments, and you did a good job on those, so thank you.
One more, just to go back to the water. I mean, if the neighbors too communicate to the water department that they want to hitch up, and they do decide to loop the water main to Wild Harbor, it's probably going to come with a new and improved road as well, because they don't like to tear things up and not, anyway, quite likely it could be a home run for you if you speak up. Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
The water super has confirmed that where Habitat is bringing the water main halfway, that they would intend to extend it and connect. So it will, at some point in time, be looped.
And probably come with a new road. And an old wall. You guys are doing well this evening.
Frank, I'm all set.
Go ahead, Frank, you're at bat.
Well, I have just one question. I wanted some clarification. We were talking about lights a little bit earlier. Would these lights be activated so that they turn on automatically at dusk and turn off at dawn, or do you require somebody in the house to throw a switch?
They would always be on and come on automatically. They would come on automatically at dawn, yeah.
It's in the bulb now.
Yeah.
It is?
You can get bulbs that actually come on, yeah.
Johnson Electric. You got a whole box of them.
But the switch wouldn't be able to be shut off.
Yeah, you can't shut the
Can't
switch
shut off the switch, it would always be
You don't
on.
even need a coupon.
Okay.
It's right inside the door to the right.
Right. Okay, that
have
was
several.
I just want to be clarified on that, and thank you.
I have two things for you. I always ask my famous question, snow removal. Here it goes. Where are you going to put it on there?
So I think we can, typically in a road like this, you would just plow to the edge of the pavement and the folks would shovel it. But we could definitely, and I don't think we did, I think we talked about, we can definitely allocate a snow removal spot. There is a kind of an area between the lots here that was designated as a
that path
trail,
is? Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So someone could just, pile the snow there. You could also push it off the side of the road in these areas. There's quite a significant shoulder here. So I feel like there's plenty of room if the plow wants to come in and he pushes a section over in different spaces. It seems to me there's more than enough room to do that. But if you'd like, we can actually put the snow
I would put it on the plan.
storage,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yep.
And my other question is, I'm reading in here, there's going to be no guest parking, you're going to use the street. Is that what I'm reading on this?
Well, I think we're saying that there's not expected to be guest parking on a frequent basis at all. So it would just be off the edge of the road. There is If it's needed, there is like I said, quite a big shoulder there. It's a 5-foot shoulder. So there's more than enough room if
Why
on
are
that.
you anticipating no guests?
Well, I mean, I think the driveways can actually fit more than 2 cars, probably too. It's just we're showing them completely off the actual, out of the right-of-way line. So this is the right-of-way line here. So the comment from the peer reviewers that they should be all outside on the property. But I think in a rare circumstance, if there's someone coming over, you could, scoot your car up a little further and fit another car here. And again, I don't anticipate, and maybe Habitat can speak to like how many cars people have, but I don't expect
The
it to
peer
be.
recommended no on-street parking. We normally don't do on-street parking at all in 40B.
Yeah, I don't think we ever indicated we were planning to park on street.
It says.
Is that going to be lawn where you're planning to have these cars pull?
Yep,
It says.
So are you going to do like permeable pavers or whatever, any such?
we weren't planning on any reinforced surface there, no.
So there's the potential that everybody's front yard's going to get,
Well, I think the idea was that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen when someone graduates or the Super Bowl, we're not expecting this to be a frequent event. So that's why.
People who live there will park off the street, but guests, if they're there for the afternoon, will be on the street. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, the people will all park in their driveways. So it would
the
just be
guests will be parking on the lawn.
maybe for an hour or two or whatever. It's not a,
We've required permeable pavers before, or whatever you call those.
Fixed with a signage.
you're talking about a shoulder.
Yeah, a shoulder, I mean,
Says we're
just
using
where,
signage.
because otherwise, if cars are parking in the rain and consistently, and you're going to have houses in there where they're going to have regular guests, I mean, Mabel's going to be bringing over the chicken noodle soup twice a week, I mean, she's going to foul up the lawn, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, I think our idea was that we didn't expect this to be a thing that would happen that often. So I guess I can talk to Habitat if they're willing to.
At 14 houses, the chances are pretty good that somebody's going to have regular visitors if they have relatives in town or whatever.
Would it be helpful to demonstrate how many cars could fit in each?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that would be.
You know what I mean? Like show you like 3 or 4 could be fit in
You
here.
can give 1 or 2, you can show that 1 or 2 extra cars that can park there without
I just add to that.
digging up their lawn. I mean, that's just a kind of a, you start degrading the property and it's kind of a downward spiral. I mean, we required that an apron be with, have permeable pavers, or that concrete lattice,
Yeah, we've done the reinforced turf or things like
reinforced,
that.
whatever, I can't remember what I think they call them permeable pavers, don't they? Yeah. Or the reinforced, I'm sure they got 9 different names for it, depending on who you buy it from, but I would think, 3 or 4 feet of that would be, well, see what you come up with, what it looks like with,
I could show what it looks like.
I'd like to add to Mr. Finneran's comment.
Sure.
The applicant suggests that this board is supposed to just believe that there'll be no on-street parking, which that's not going to happen that way. It's not real life. So Mr. Finneran's idea about a shoulder is a great idea, but since this is an HOA, as one member here, I'd like to see that in the, I'd like to see that in the HOA document says that there's no on-street parking. I realize that requires some board to go out there or somebody to enforce that, which is very likely not to happen. Or you can put signs up that says no on-street parking. But I think Mr. Finneran's idea is what is absolutely necessary, because, again, we keep talking about pride of place. And if you start parking cars on a lawn, and it's all muddy, and it's all gummed up with this, I mean, just because it's affordable housing doesn't mean it should not be well cared for.
And I mean, with the permeable pavers, it would offer a surface for people to traverse the neighborhood in lieu of a sidewalk. So I think.
And it should be in the homeowner's
I mean.
argument.
So HOA restriction on street parking is what you're suggesting?
Yeah, the problem, I am suggesting that, Madam Chair, maybe you would, that's right. I am suggesting that because I'd like the board to consider that. in their, if they approve this in their conditions. But I worry about, and Mr. Freeman's idea is a great idea because it's there, doesn't need to be enforced because you can park there. And we don't want this place looking like something you don't want to look like later on. But it should be, just to reinforce everything, in the homeowners association document. Again, somebody has to enforce it. Nobody in town will enforce it. We don't enforce things like that in town here. But it would be good to have it in the homeowners association as good faith.
Why don't we look at some options for providing that?
Nice.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Jim?
No questions, thank you.
Tony?
Oh, okay, we're back.
You're already at bat.
Already back. I just want to understand something about the water again, just to make sure I understand, I get it. You folks are bringing the water up from where it dead ends at Cameron right now? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. If you look at this plan, it's coming
The other
from
way.
Cameron, yep, down here, and we're extending it beyond the entrance all the way to there, the ending in a hydrant.
So it dead ends there at a hydrant, and this is what I want to understand. I think you said the town said that's okay to do that, but as an engineer, how do you flush out a system like that so you don't have a bunch of sedimentation building up at the end of
Out of
that?
the
Well,
hydrant.
that's why you put the
Why
hydrant
the
there.
hydrant's there.
All right, so then
Just,
that's the town's responsibility to flush that out, all right. Okay, that's what I want to make sure of. All right, thank you.
That's why it's quite likely they'll loop it to Wild Harbor. Just easier for them and better for everybody.
And, all
Just-
right, that's it, I appreciate it, thank you.
You're welcome.
You good, Nick? Yep. Anybody else all set? We'll go for the public. Are you all set?
All set, yes.
Anybody from the public? Come on up. Name and address, please.
Hi, Bob Leary, Galetta Drive in East Falmouth, construction supervisor for Habitat for Humanity and planning board member. I want to address the guest parking thing. I don't know of any site plan that the planning board has ever done that's required guest parking. You drive on any street in this town. I live on a street where everybody has a driveway. People park on the street regardless, especially the ones with the temporary Airbnb situations. You get people, 8 people sitting on the side of the road. As far as having the extra expense of putting reinforced turf, I think that's an unreasonable requirement for an affordable housing entity. And I really wish people would go around and look at some habitat developments, and you'll see how well-kept they are. We have one right here in Falmouth at Willett Way, and it's the same situation. It's a cul-de-sac with a nicely paved road. Driveways can hold 3 to 4 cars. So I just think having a requirement for a guest parking is not something that you should require this project.
Well, it was presented to us that the driveways would hold 2 cars.
Well-
And we have conditioned permeable pavers on projects before, so, and, you know, everybody wants the place to look proper and just, you know, have a nice place for people to park. It's not that great of an expense, but I don't know, as we have done it before.
Yeah.
We've conditioned it before, and they work out really well, and once the grass grows through them after a few years, you're really not aware, but the only thing is that it doesn't turn into a mud puddle, and it's,
I'm well aware of them. But right now, we're also looking at a subdevelopment that's requiring 1 parking space.
Mr. Leary, I also think that when you do site plan, your roads are wide. Most of our 40Bs are pretty skinny, and you really can't have them parking in the street. Your subdivision, well,
Yeah.
you have subdivision-sized roads, we don't. And that's why we tend to have guest parking, because it's not safe.
but until he gives us the diagrams,
Right.
if there's 4 cars there, we're not gonna bark at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've just
Yeah,
never seen
he's just
it
going to
for-
show us a few that he can fit on there somewhere, and, you know,
Okay, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Rock, scissors, paper, shoot, who goes first?
Good evening. My name's Jean Cosgrove, and I live on Hunt Street in North Falmouth. And I noticed they only notified the abutters way in ahead of time, but I'm further away, so I didn't hear about this till the spring. So I wanted to voice my opposition to the proposed construction of 14 houses initiated by 300 Committee Land Trust and Habitat on 48 Benjamin Nyes Lane. And I want to urge the Zoning Board of Appeals to deny the permit, or at a minimum significantly reduce the number of units that would fit in the area of the immediate house and garage that's already built there. And I have a 2-page letter. Do you want me to just read? I wrote my comments after night, but my point, this is, I live in North Falmouth for many years, and this is forested area, it's a conservation land, potential open space, and I think it was the wrong thing for our 300 committee to do. I think creating additional housing will increase existing problems in North Falmouth, poor water quality, even though you have the advanced system, but more nitrogens, excessive traffic, inability of the town to maintain our current infrastructure in North Falmouth, and it will fragment critical habitats and wildlife corridors. There's not enough space, and loss of open space. And historically in North Falmouth, our infrastructure needs are ignored. We're way up there, and, I've called 3 times to have a sewage drainage when my road was done over 20 years ago, and they just ignore. So I believe that building more housing in an already densely built North Falmouth will not solve the affordability problem, and I think this particular site is unsuitable for a high density of development due to several concerns. The environmental and wildlife, this is critical eastern box turtle habitat. And I walk the area, there's some wetlands that on your website that don't appear to be delineated, that are pretty close to some of that site, and they don't say how many feet away it is. So there's wetlands and habitat. Let's see, the 48 property, there's one house and outbuilding. There's 14 units that goes way beyond that one house and takes up the greenfield space, the forest, and wildlife. And you walk through, you see a lot of signs of wildlife, wetland, American chestnut trees. I saw 2 American chestnut trees. So I think if you're going to build on the property, limit it to the grassy area of the old house and the garage. And, there's wetlands close by, and they should be sufficiently delineated and measured. And my own opinion, I was very disappointed when the 300 committee did this, our supposed conservation trust. I think the whole 58 acres, contiguous acres, should have been preserved as undeveloped land for conservation for critical habitat and open space, much needed in North Falmouth because we're already densely developed. And I think there's infrastructure and traffic implications, as I mentioned. It's already is difficult to pull out on Wild Harbor Road and Old Main Road, so that's going to exacerbate it. As a kid, I used to ride my bike down Benjamin Nye, and a lot of people, bikers and runners, so it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. I went to Willett Way. There's fewer houses. This is much more, so I think you should put the minimum amount. And I first thought they mentioned 6 houses in the spring, so I don't know how it got to be 14. Let's see. And again, the existing infrastructure in North Falmouth, it's, I've called 3 times to try to get another drain on my street. When it rains 2 inches, we can't drive through on Hunt Street. So I feel we get ignored a lot in North Falmouth. And it's going to change I think the density is going to be detrimental to North Falmouth. I think we have too high density of housing. I think even Cape Cod has, 80 to 90% developed. So I think where we have open space and contiguous area like that, we should try to preserve it. So I urge the zoning Board of Appeals to deny the permit, or at a minimum, significantly reduce the number of units to what would fit near the house, and look at some of those issues.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Just to address your concerns about density, I think it's a 56-acre parcel, not 58, as you mentioned, but the rest of it is going to be open. I mean, and that works out to one house every 4 acres. That's some of the least dense development in this town. To find, I mean, you'd have to go out into the farms of East Falmouth to find that kind of a number. And if a developer had bought this, purchased this property, which could have happened, I mean, you'd be seeing, you know, at a minimum, a house every 40,000 square feet. And, you know, if it went to a 40B, there's no telling how many. I mean, 6 units an acre, you could add 300 units there. So I think 14 is, it's some of the least densely developed area in town.
Well, I think it's nice to have open space in town, too.
But
And
there's a
Cape
ton
Cod-
of
It's going to be open.
There's a ton of it that's there, too. I mean,
Yeah.
everything's open all the way over to, you know, the left side of Quaker Road, all the way up to Early Boulevard almost. There's a ton of, you look at an aerial photo, there's a ton of open space there, and I don't think this bruises anywhere as much as it could have. I mean, that part of this is one of the things that we're kind of happiest about.
May I ask a question, Madam Chair, on that?
Go ahead.
point? With regard to the 300 committee who's not before us, but what I just heard was, well, that's going to be all open space. Is that, I mean, do we know that to be a fact, that that's going to be open space, or are they going to be open to expanding this?
They
They're not going to
designated
develop
it.
any more in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So you got
It's
one,
in-
you
it's
got
in there.
one house per 4 acres. I mean, there's
So we have there's no reason for this board to believe that there'd be some future deal where they would sell other land, 300 committee, to them for this, or any other developer. Am I correct on that? I want this in the testimony.
Yes.
yeah, it's already there.
What I think is the 300 committee could have bought the whole thing, or they could have
They did.
engaged all of
They
North
bought
Falmouth.
the whole thing.
For conservation.
The rest
They
is-
had some affordable housing advocates that wanted to make it affordable.
Maybe you can
housing.
speak to this for us. then.
But they could have found a way to get the whole thing, like they have in other properties in town. There's an 8-acre site in 300 committee site in East Falmouth. Why don't they put it there? Or even their own. I think it's kind of hypocritical too. They have their nice new headquarters that they've done construction of. They could put 14 units in the field right in front of them, their headquarters.
That's like a 2-acre field.
You know, they could put townhouses there. Already built, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come up?
I've been here before. I'm Ruth Brazier. I live at 67 Benjamin Nyes Lane, across the street from this. And I'm interested in the use of the Benjamin Nyes Lane for bicyclists. We have a lot of bicyclists, including children. And we have a lot of walkers, and I've been interviewing people, and a great number of them don't come from the immediate, from Benjamin Nyes Lane or the streets that start on Benjamin Nyes Lane. People come from a mile away because they really like to make that part of their walk. And as far as the traffic goes, what people don't seem to have counted is the through traffic. Benjamin Nyes Lane is used as a preferred shortcut for people who, for large numbers of people who live down on Wild Harbor Road. And what surprised me during this snowy period was how these people are so much in the habit of using Benjamin Nye that they prefer to use Benjamin Nye, which wasn't plowed as thoroughly as Wild Harbor Road. They keep coming down that street and being slowed up by the snow because they seem to be in the habit. I think at least 50% of the traffic is actually through traffic. And talking to people who use that road, they do walk in the street. The people who complain, I think, is the through traffic people, because they would like to be able to go faster. I think that when you're talking about sidewalks in this development, remember those children are going to be practicing bicycling. And I think they're safer without a sidewalk. The sidewalk, particularly on Benjamin Nye, will improve visibility and allow people, give people the incentive to go even faster than they already go. So anything to be done that could be done to slow the traffic, like a 15-mile speed limit, would help us. But I would be very sorry to lose our neighbors from often more than a mile away who use this road. And it makes it it's a real community asset. And I'm looking forward to the new people in this development being able to enjoy this road the way it is. Then the other thing, I hope that the neighbors, including the new people, will have there will be a path for foot traffic into the conservation area, so that we don't have to get into our cars and go to a parking place we can just walk into it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, we wouldn't mind seeing.
A moat with a drawbridge?
What?
A moat with a drawbridge?
No, we wouldn't mind seeing two-family houses as a more efficient use of space.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come up tonight?
Madam Chair, may I distribute this?
Sure.
to members?
Come on up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
We like to get these things a few days early, if you just...
I don't type fast enough.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And I make mistakes, so if you look at the
Yeah.
zoning board of adjustment, I apologize.
but to ask us to read this on the fly, we try to discourage that.
I try to
Anybody in the future,
Thank you.
make note.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board. My name's Jeff Lintner. This is the third time that I've been here. And I learned tonight that I have a new identity. I'm 78 years old. We all struggle with identity issues. But when I was talking to counsel for Habitat, he addressed me as the well guy. So I'm the well guy. And I've got...
I'm glad you're well.
Mentally, yes, I think. So I've appeared twice before this. I have a lot of other things, a lot of other issues that I could talk about, but I need to focus on one particular issue, and I am, right now, the only abutter that doesn't have town water. and I'm concerned about it. And so I thank Joe for leaving you can look at the back of this and you'll see some of my concerns. But I thank Joe for leaving us up here. And to preface my remarks, I'd like the board to consider two specific actions. They're preemptive from my perspective, and they've been discussed with you previously. And I've had cordial conversations with Habitat. We disagree on some things, and mostly financial at this point. There are some costs associated with ameliorating the problems that I see that I'm concerned about. And I've been told that they would not be able to absorb the costs associated with that. So I'll get to that. So
Can I just ask you one?
Yes, sir.
Have you calculated the distance to your well from this? I mean, because we've seen this a few times.
Which one?
The distance from the property line to your well.
I think we have done that, and I think it's about close to 200 feet. And so at the first meeting here, if I can jump ahead, thank you, we talked about this, and I'd asked for a peer review to look at how the sewage is going to flow, the septic system is going to flow here, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. There was not, to my knowledge, a peer review. At the subsequent meeting, and Mr. Petrucci, you were the one that recommended there be a peer review at the first meeting. The only evidence of a peer review was that there was a gentleman from the Falmouth Water Department that came at the last meeting and said, well, you're 100 feet away, and therefore this does not constitute a potential infraction according to, maybe infraction is the wrong word. But I look at this and...
Let me just fill in some of that, just so you...
Yeah.
That would be under Title V, which would be putting like 35 parts per million. When you got a system here that's potentially going to operate at 5. So, I mean, you're beyond the 100 feet when the concern is the effluent being, which would be legal for effluent measuring 35, and this thing's going to be below 10 and quite likely 5 if it's operating. So, I mean, that allays a lot of your concerns, and it also, it puts it outside of the peer review, and I mean, to ask somebody to fund that is well, there's no way you can.
I'm just reciting that the committee said that there would be a peer review, and if there was a decision not to do it, that I can understand that. My concern about is that there is no data that determines where the plume is going to go. And Joe, for example, said he can model where the plume of the effluent from the septic area is going to go, but we don't have the real data. We have a supposition that the groundwater is going to flow one direction, right? But we don't know for a fact. And what I'm asking, one of the things I'm asking is that there be a well sampling at the site, because I researched this, I've talked to experts in the field, and they say, well, for a relatively small amount of money, which in this case is $7,000, correct, roughly, you can test and find out which way the water flows. Now, for $7,000, that seems to me to be a pretty reasonable investment to allay my fears that my well is going to be contaminated. And if indeed the plume goes another direction, I'm far less concerned. And so the reality is that the testing is relatively inexpensive. You know, I would ask that the board require that, which it can do under, I can do Google, so I know what 760 CMR 56055 is. The board can ask that that be done, that the testing be done, and that allies my fears to a substantial extent. To your comments about water, yes, I would like to hook up the town water because that would give me the security, so I don't have to worry.
You'd be better off spending your $7,000 because you can't get these people to spend $7,000 for something that is twice the state required minimum. And then again, I'm going to have to repeat myself, but that's at a 35 degree, 35 parts per million, and this thing is going to be well below that. Yeah. Have you spoken with the water department?
Yes?
Yeah, and did they tell you that it would be possible for you to hitch up while they were extending the water main?
Well, I ask in my comments, what I ask is, and have asked politely, that since Habitat is already constructing, we've seen up here where the hydrant is going to be, and we've talked about where the hydrant is, and the engineer, Joe, has identified the fact that for another 242 feet, which will cost $60,000 in his estimation, I would have access to town water. And that allies the fears of the contamination of there. And we haven't really talked about the depression where while the surface water is going to be dropping into that depression, which is at a 14-foot level, sir. And it's about the level where my well is. And so I see two sources of contamination for my well.
But your well's already getting water from that depression as it is, most probably.
So, to me, the notion of extending the water service another 242 feet provides the security that I would like to have so that I'm not worrying about the contamination of my well. And I think it's a reasonable request. I don't understand why it's something that can't be considered. Certainly the testing seems to me something that is extraordinarily reasonable because we just don't know which way this plume is going to go.
May I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Sure. Yes, sir.
When you talked to the water department, did they say they will extend it or might extend it, or who knows what they're going to do?
There is no certainty that they will extend it, and that's why, I mean, if there was certainty, that would be one thing. There is no certainty, sir. And I think what the water department would like to do, the last conversation I had, is to link Wild Harbor up to this, and that would include 3 other parcels that would then have access to town water.
So let me ask this question. Let me ask a question. Do we have any data that would help Mr. Littner? Did I say that correctly? Allay his fears? I don't think we do. I don't think anyone's provided that. I think we're going on what Title V says. You're further than 100 feet away. There's going to be a denitrification system, so therefore you should be okay. But no one really knows that for sure. We believe from what science says that you'll be okay. But the best thing that could happen is that the water line be extended all the way to Wild Harbor, and you then pay to connect to that main water line. So, Madam Chair, can we, and just hypothetical question, can we condition this, if we were to approve this, that they can't start it until the town approves the extension of the water line?
No, the state says it's 100 feet. We don't have anything to stand on.
I'm trying to find a way of solving, I know it's for one person, and I know it's not necessarily fair to the applicant. And so I have to ask that question, if we can do something like that, and evidently we can't. So someone has to find a way, and I think it falls probably on you, based on the science in front of us, that you're not in danger because you're more than 100 feet away, and that's for Title V, and there's going to be a denite system that's going to be 5 milligrams per liter, even less. So I know that doesn't help you much, but this board can only go on the science that's before us.
Yes, sir. I'm data-driven, and if I look at this, you can talk about the 100 feet. I get the 100 feet. And I understand that the 100 feet between a septic source and a well most likely applies to a residential house. If I build next to you and you have a well, and I'm 100 feet away, it's okay. This is not just a house. This is 4,000 gallons a day, the design that goes right there, and it's going to have a plume. And it's not just the nitrogen, sir. It's the other contaminants that are in there, and that's what's likely to come toward my well. Now, if we do the flow testing, which is data, and we find that it goes that direction, then it doesn't impact my property. If we extend the water line so that I can tap into it, if in fact my well becomes contaminated, then it's not a problem.
I asked the question earlier about, can we condition it so the water line is extended? I know that we cannot do that, because that's the town that would have to do that. And to put that expense on particularly Habitat probably wouldn't be fair. So how do we, I don't know, I don't have an answer for you as to how we eliminate the fear other than to have them do a test, and I'm not even sure we can do that at this point in time.
Test is relatively easy to do.
One more piece to this puzzle is the modeling, and the modeling says, which has been done for the whole town, and the modeling says that the water doesn't flow the way he's concerned that it does. I'm quite sure I'm correct about that.
Yeah.
I think the other scenario here is that you can't impose something more strict on a 40B development
Yeah.
than
State
you
law.
would on any other residential property being developed. And if there was a single house here, the water still flows the way it does. But, the state has said that we do not have control over that.
I sympathize with the concerns, I truly do, but I'm trying to find a way,
Well, the way is,
but I don't see it. I just
if
don't see
there's a
it.
way, the way is because I know that the town does not like stubs. They're hard to maintain. They don't flush well. And I know from knowing what I know about the water system in this town was a lot, because I know people that have worked for it for, 25 years, 30 years, as long as I've been doing this. And the Wild Harbor main is one of the best flowing mains in town, and it's new. And if you were to convince your neighbors all to go, if you were to go to the water department in mass, the four of you or whatever, the chances are pretty good that you're going to convince them to run that water main, because I know it's on their wish list, as is paving the road, and they like to do these things all at once so they don't waste money. I think you should all go together to the DPW and the water department, because the state law says that we can't do anything because you're twice the 100-foot measure, and I mean that applies to Title V systems all over the state. I mean, if there was an issue with it, people would be coming up poisoned left and right, and I'm not aware of that.
See, I think that a reasonable investment, as opposed to a water main, a $7,000 test that determines the flow of the effluent, will go a long way toward allaying the fears that I have personally, and frankly, my downstream neighbors do. The notion of appealing to DPW, and, it's like saying, trust me, I'll love you in the morning, and I have no confidence that there will be a water line that makes that connection anytime soon.
Well, we can't mandate, the bottom line in this, is we can't mandate or demand anything that's outside of the state's minimum, as far as I understand, and I think that's exactly correct. Like I said, and that's, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but that's for 35 parts per million, and this thing's going to be much, much less. And, the modeling says that it doesn't flow in the direction that you're concerned.
Can I just address with the question of the modeling? The modeling, there's no data, there's no test wells that confirm where that flow goes.
Well, I'm not sure that, because these models are, they use them all the time. I mean, we're sewer in this town. I mean, they're fairly consistent, and I'm not an expert on this, but I spent years going to the wastewater committee meetings, and they go, for the most part, the water does flow the way the models indicate. And, yeah, I mean, he would know better than me. He's an engineer. He doesn't have his hat tonight.
Madam Chairman, if I may, the concern has been obviously addressed. I think the board has noted it, but this is a Board of Health issue, which we don't have any jurisdiction over. So I would suggest that it's time to move on.
You know, even if Mr. Lintner went out and got the tests himself and brought them in here and it showed that the water flowed right into his well, I'm not sure we could help him.
Yeah.
The
Say it again,
engineer-
sir?
I want you to repeat, Frank.
But he's,
If you went out and did the test yourself, and you came in with a report that said the effluent, well, the water direction of flow is directly into your well, I'm not sure we could help you.
Yes, sir, I was prepared to undertake doing the tests on my property, and I was told that that doesn't really determine the flow. The flow is determined at the prospective source, which is the site in the middle there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's correct.
It's a Board of Health issue.
I mean, the engineer might be able to.
Do you want to answer anything?
Also true.
Yeah, I'll just show you what I showed, yeah.
brief response.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think we've talked about this before, the flow of the groundwater. I think I presented a figure that showed it. We've actually done more figures. I think I actually have included it here. This is like, it's based on regional groundwater flow. We don't have, Mr. Lintner's saying is he wants the site-specific. They have regional groundwater flow data that we can produce this model that shows the plume of a wastewater treatment system with our flow in this area. So I think this just demonstrates the same thing we've shown before, is that the anticipated flow based on the regional groundwater models shows the wastewater not, here's the well, and here's the plume, and you can see. So just maybe to give some
And what is
peace
that
of mind.
distance, the lateral distance from the plume
So,
to as well? I mean, just
The
estimated.
wastewater leach field is 340 feet to the well.
No, I'm talking about the plume to his
This
well.
distance here,
Yeah, just roughly.
I mean, probably a couple hundred feet, so.
So you've passed the 100 feet measure again, so that.
So, again, I just wanted to show this. It's regional groundwater modeling. We've tried to demonstrate that it goes, doesn't
Yeah.
intercept the well.
I mean, it's like an underground river. I mean,
We talked about test pits. We've done, I think, 10 test pits throughout the whole site. So we've looked at the soil, and it's all been consistently sandy material. So we've seen nothing that would, from a soil basis, that would change what we would have think.
Flows.
Go ahead.
So I thank you for your time. I appreciate it. My question will be, when or if my well is contaminated, what recourse do I have? And I can see recourses here, but do I have to go spend $60,000 to have the line extended, and they may not do that, sir? What recourse do I have? Now I have a contaminated well. The water department hasn't proceeded. We're saying we don't want to even test the flow. And I respect what Joe said about what that's, you pointed out that's a stream, right? Now suppose it goes 10 degrees to the right.
Well, I
It's
mean,
me.
again, this is just what I've learned from, and I spent a lot of time going to these, is there aren't many instances where the models are wrong because the water's flowing. I mean, it's like changing the course of a river. And it has to do with the consistency of what's underneath, the ground underneath. And I mean, the way it flows is the way it flows, kind of.
Right. But we can ascertain that, sir, by doing a $7,000 test on the site, number one. Number two, if we don't do that, what's my recourse? I asked the board, what's my recourse?
We don't know.
I don't know,
We
personally.
don't know.
I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV. But honestly, my advice to you is get together with all your neighbors and present your case to the water department, and your chances are pretty good that they're going to loop that, because the road is deteriorating. It's on the wish list to pave. You're halfway there already when they extend this water main. So I would get together with my friends and form a solid coalition and go to the DPW. That would be my best advice to you, but we can't do anything for you.
Can you have a resolution to DPW?
Huh?
Can you have a resolution to DPW?
You should, you and your 3 neighbors should get together and, I mean, it's not our jurisdiction.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Good, I mean, good luck, and I think your chances are very good. Especially if you're unified.
Anybody else want to come up to the podium?
Can I give you my comments for the record?
Sure. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't know if you got my email.
Yeah.
Yes, we did get your email, yep.
Dana Gnarly at 130 Old Main. And I was here last time, and I talked about how I thought that the density was too high for this small neighborhood. And everybody talks about the other possibilities. That's beside the point, in my opinion, because we're on the cusp of being beyond that, other than, I think, a delay and pause of a development permit, as I understand. But if this were to fall apart and had to go through that, I think we'd be, in a different situation. But more importantly is whether the density is really appropriate for this size neighborhood and this street and everything else. But you're going to make your decision on that. The other 2 things I wanted to say is, following up on what Ruth said, this is a cut through of a street, and I'll take her word for it that 50% of the people that are actually going up the street are just cutting through, and probably nearly all of them are the ones that are going the fastest. And I don't know what you can do, but you might want to be proactive about trying to figure out, especially with 14 more houses on this street, as to how you mitigate that. And I don't know, did somebody say the speed limit is 30 miles an hour? Did you say that? Yeah, so I mean, you could lower the speed limit and put the lights up or whatever, try to teach the people that are cutting through that that's not a good option anymore. I'm just putting it out there. And the other thing that I brought up last time was, for this neighborhood, as far as I can tell, the bus stop is right at the corner of Benjamin Nyes and Old Main. It's already over capacity, and there's not that many kids there. It's like 6 kids or whatever, but the parents all have to be there when they go and when they come back, and if there's any, inclement weather or anything else. And I can't imagine taking on another 14 houses where you say it's supposed to be a family of 4 or whatever, and even half of them end up being on at that bus stop right on the corner. I don't know, whether it should be on, Wild Harbor side or whatever, but there's going to be a problem with that, and you might want to be proactive about figuring that one out too.
Okay, thank you. Look who's coming up.
Yeah. Noreen with Habitat for Humanity. The 300 committee's been at our other meetings, but they couldn't be here tonight, so I just wanted to reflect on your question. I looked at my notes, and the 300 Committee Land Trust and the Falmouth Conservation Commission collaborated on the permanent protection of almost 48 acres of land. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Last call. All right. Anybody up here have any further questions? We're all set?
Yeah.
Noreen, do we have a date?
March 12th.
March 12th. Getting close to St. Patty's Day. Oh, boy.
Motion to continue to March 12th?
I have a motion.
Second that.
A second by Tony. Any further discussion? Are you all set?
Yes, we're all set, I believe.
March 12th, is that a good day for involved?
That would be fine.
Okay. All set, everybody? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. So March 12th, 6 o'clock. These have to be
Thanks to all members of the board, appreciate your time.
Peace.
All right, now, where's my thing? There it is. All right, we have a, it says hearing. 05824M2, 85 Brick Kiln. Oh, he should, Joe, should we tell him to get his thumb drive?
Get his thumb drive.
I gave it to him.
Oh, you already did? I thought it's still up there.
Yeah, I think it stays on the screen.
Oh, it just stays on? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
As opposed to me, it has a memory.
Both of us. What are you flying? Delta? Nice.
New York, down to Curacao.
Meeting out of Providence, too.
We're gonna bring a flight up green, it's so much easier.
When I go to the mall and this stuff. Oh, that's stuff I have to go along. Ready?
Suzanne, you all set?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Good evening. Nick Marioni here representing the applicant, 85 Brick Kiln LLC. When I was here the last time, we requested, as part of an insubstantial change, to make this management office with a bathroom. I understand that the board considered this a substantial change because we were changing the use to more of a commercial use. So I'd like to amend my request, take out the office portion of it, and just have a bathroom for the workers. So that when the lawn crews and the snowplow people are there working or maintaining equipment, they don't have to have a porta potty in the driveway or go behind the building or leave the site. They have a place where they can go. And I believe that is an insubstantial change, just the bathroom.
Anybody have any questions up here, Scott?
I guess, Noreen, in the file, didn't Scott McGann say something about any bathroom or anything? There was no documentation. I was just looking in the file.
The email of January 6, 2026.
Yeah, I don't have anything further from Scott. I
Okay.
don't know whether he was just indicating that this particular building was not connected to septic.
Excuse me, I think what he was saying was that we didn't show a water connection to it in the water plan, which we would revise, and we didn't show the grinder pump that would be needed to pump it up the hill to the leaching field, that the infradrome system we're proposing. So we would have to show that for him to be able to approve it, but there's no sense submitting that to him until we have permission to put a bathroom in, which we don't have yet.
And he submitted that in writing?
I'm saying Scott to Ashley. I'm going back to do referrals, may not have responded. The project has never had Board of Health approval. I disapprove all the applications, is what Scott said to Ashley on January 6th.
That's what I mean.
I was just looking for
And
clarification.
so our infradrome system the IA system we're proposing was supposed to be on for their hearing Monday night. Because of the storm, it was postponed till the 9th of February. That night, our consultants that designed and are building the system and the engineers will all be at the Board of Health to answer their questions, and we're hoping to get approval for the whole system that night. We can't pull any permits till we have that approved. Building, garages, anything. Well, I'm sorry, we can pull garage permits without bathrooms. We can't pull building permits without approved Board of Health.
Go ahead, Mark.
Aside from the issues I have with this, I mean, that being the case, you're kind of putting the cart before the toilet even being here in the first place.
Well, not really. I mean, we have bathrooms in the units that we don't have
Of
an
course you
approved
do, but I
system,
mean,
too.
does any, and I'm going to ask the same question because honestly, Nick, when you came here in the beginning and I asked you what the garage was for, you said it was, he wanted to store all his equipment from all his other projects. Then you came back and you told us you needed a place to store fire alarms and screens, and of course, everybody knows that screens don't come off buildings anymore. They stay on permanently for the most part. And fire alarms, I mean, the amount of fire smoke alarms you need, you can store in your lunch pail. And I think this, does anybody here know of any other project that has a bathroom in it for management office or whatever, of any 40B we've ever, other than 704 Main Street, but that's a mixed use, and that's commercial property, and they own the commercial. I think this is, we're, like I said before, we're in the business of affordable housing. We're not in the business of affordable office space. I mean, you're using town money to build this, and I just think it's a bad precedent all around.
To respond to that, we're not using it for commercials. I'm withdrawing that request to put an office there, just asking for a bathroom for the convenience of the workers so that they don't have to use a porta potty sitting in the parking lot.
What does everybody at all the other 40Bs around do? We've never had one of these, have we?
No.
Well, this is a pretty good size one, 40 units.
Well, there's bigger 40Bs around, but nobody has one of these. And I think
Making the
it's open up a
request, you
can
make
of
the
worms.
decision,
And again,
please.
you're subsidized. We're allowing you to go over the lot coverage. You're getting money from the town, and I just think this is, and I just have to go back to what you said in the beginning. And I mean, your request has changed, but I don't think your intention has.
Well, that's
just how I feel.
Yeah, well, I can't address that. I mean, it's offensive, but I can't address it. Nonetheless, I'm asking for an insubstantial change. I'm asking for a change as we're here tonight, just to put a bathroom in. That's my request.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead, Tony.
What is the rest of the space to be used for?
It's going to be for storage of water heaters, smoke detectors, snow plows, lawn maintenance equipment.
I'm just talking about where in front of the bathroom. That's the only spot.
Well, that was going to be the work area, where they repaired things.
So you're not going to set up an office or?
No, we give up on the office. We'll make the people to bring their rent or mail their rent or do something else. No office.
Let me go back again. Does anybody know of any 40B where we even allowed this much? No. It's already too much. We went through mediation, and then you come back asking for more, and like I said, this is, you're subsidizing, and I just don't believe that this isn't going to be filled with stuff from other projects that this person owned, because you said it the first time. And I mean, water heaters, I mean, how often, what are these? I mean, how many water heaters do you need? What other equipment are you going to be repairing? I mean, it's just, I think you've already gotten more than you deserve. I mean, originally you came here with a garage bigger than what you were providing for the tenants. And that was strictly for your own use and the use of all the other projects you might have around town. I don't like it. I think you got enough already out of it. And we went through mediation.
Yeah.
And then we're fresh out of mediation. You come back looking for more.
And I might come back again for something if something changes. You went back and changed the addresses on us. You know, these things happen. Things come up.
That's different, and that happens at projects all over. I mean,
Things change
nobody
on
else has
projects
what
all-
you're asking for, my bottom line.
Look, I'm not here to argue. I'm making a request. I'm just asking to put a bathroom in, which is the definition of an insubstantial change. We're not changing bedrooms or anything. And it's in the guidelines that you're allowed to.
Commercial use is not in the
I'm not
guidelines.
doing commercial use.
Anybody else have any questions?
Not me,
Anybody else? Anybody from the public want to come up? Long sit tonight, sorry.
Oh, no, bad hip. Too many years of abuse.
State your name.
I'm getting there. Neil Gary, 77 Brick Kiln. Question I have with this is I went back and read over the approved plans. It said there were two 24 by 12 garages. 24 by 20. Two 24 by 20 garages on this site, one for the use of the single, what do you call them?
Dorm room.
The
whatever it's
dorms,
called.
yeah, whatever, the military housing. And there was another one that was going to be kitty corner on the corner, which was another 20 by 24. Just the two garage bays on this one, this does not look like a 20 by 24. Did we increase the size, before we decided to put a bathroom in it, did we increase the size of this garage?
It was actually bigger for a while.
Oh, it was, but before, when it was finally approved,
Then
it
it
was
was
approved
supposed
as
to
a
come
20
down
by
to two.
24, two of them.
Yeah, I guess as an explanation, what happened is the board did approve two-car garages, and then the developer appealed, and the appeal was remanded to the town, and the board at that time negotiated and agreed to allow one garage to be essentially a three-car garage bay. So
Okay,
there'd
'cause I
be-
didn't see that.
No, so that was negotiated and then filed as, to satisfy the appeal.
Okay, so they approved the enlarged garage
Correct.
With no bathroom.
without the bathroom?
Correct.
Okay, so the garage size was approved.
Yes.
Next, all right. I have one more question that I don't think it comes under your purview, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, only because I don't want to have to come back and talk to the Board of Health or the building department. Once again, while perusing for the size of the garage, I noticed that this lot was set at a 29-foot grade. No, sorry, not 29 foot. It's 42 feet from the side. It was 39 feet finished grade on the far west side of the lot. Since that was approved and the septic system with it and the separation of groundwater from the bottom of the septic system to the groundwater was worked off of the top finished grade being at 39 feet. But since that time, they've taken 12 feet off of that grade. So the whole grade has come down 12 feet. So now they're no longer, the finished grade is going to be at 39 feet. That changes the whole parameters of where the bottom of that leach field and septic system go. Because when I look at it, the finished grade was at 39 feet. The abutting property is at 42 feet, according to the grade charts. And it seemed that the finished grade was at 39 feet, abutting to that side of the property. That's come straight across. Since that period of time, they put in the drop inlets, the fire hydrants. So they've established the grade, and the grade is significantly lower. 12 feet's my guess. I could stand there now at the side of that embankment, it's double my height. So they dropped the finished grade down 12 feet.
May I ask a question? Did the town approve this change, these grade changes? Did somebody in the town approve these?
So that grade change will definitely affect
Have
the
an
base
effect
of
on
that
the water.
septic system.
Yeah.
Without a, and we,
Well, I want to understand, how did that happen? How did it go from an approval here to such a substantial grade change? I don't see, how does that happen? May I?
Yeah,
Through
I'm wondering
you to
too.
the-
So at some point in time, the peer engineer would be going out to inspect, and that would be at particular intervals, and the developers to contact the peer for an inspection when they hit particular benchmarks. So that should be something that the peer would observe.
And reject?
but we, didn't we condition a membrane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the membrane is
And-
along my side.
Yeah.
But that's on the
That's true. Yes,
on the
it's
opposite
different.
side of
Talking
it
about the
now.
other.
Oh, the other.
So let me just say, we have an issue here, that I think we have an issue here. So the peer engineer would go out, find out that there is this substantial grade change, and then it comes down to enforcing it, and this board doesn't even know whether it gets enforced or doesn't get enforced, or even has a say?
No.
I don't understand that. We approve one thing and
It's supposed to be per plan.
per plan.
Our plans, I mean, wouldn't,
All right, let's see what the other
Let's
side says.
see what Nick's going to say.
We're under construction. The finished grade's the finished grade when we're done, not now while we're under construction. It'll be the finished grade when we're finished. That's what the engineer will see.
Fire hydrants and storm drains are already in.
The finished grade will be the finished grade when we're done. That's why the hydrants are there. That's the grade we're gonna be finished to.
And that's not the 39 feet that was on the plan.
We'll see what the engineers say when we're done. They gotta sign off.
I mean, I think,
It just sounds like a discrepancy. I mean, he can, unless you, the fire,
The fire hydrant and the storm drains went in last week. So we established hard grade. That hard grade is not, if you're gonna finish it now, you'd have to put a ramp and put the houses up on a ramp.
Well, Madam Chair, here's the real question. This is now out of our view. Things are happening behind the scene. So the question is, if the peer engineer goes out there and finds that there is a substantial finish grade change, which evidently is not in place right now, what will happen? Who will enforce what we've approved?
They would notify the developer, and they would report to us, and they would report to town engineering.
But this board, then it totally bypasses this board's approval.
No,
You set the conditions, it's up
if
to
I
the,
might
it's up to
address
the
that.
enforcement to
At
enforce.
the engineering department. Yeah.
We're not the Board of Enforcement, we're not the board, we don't make determinations. We set the parameters, we set the permit. If there's significant deviations or anything that's outside of what we've approved, that's up to the building department to issue a cease and desist or an
but the
enforcement.
engineer will determine that. I mean, it's not going to go unnoticed if it's.
That's what I'm
in
trying to
fact-
get to. Somebody's going to notice this.
Yes.
And I think the property, the abutters have to stay with it, because it doesn't look like it's coming back to us at all, if there's a change.
Well, Noreen can
Well, if
contact
it
the peer
turns out there is,
reviewers
it's
and-
got to come back to us.
Have them take a look, right?
Well, no, I just
also
heard
add-
is that it could, if the peer engineer says, well, look, you changed, and then it's got to go to the building department or whoever is going to deal, and they can say, well, okay.
Excuse me, please. We have to do as-built plans when we're done to get a CO. This will all come out in time, and it's all going to be fine. I'm asking for a half bathroom in a garage tonight.
take it.
Let us build the project and see what the as-built plans show, okay?
It's fair.
Yeah.
Want to come up?
Hi, Jennifer Gleason, 23 Sophie Lane. I'm abutting that 12-foot drop, and there's no safety netting across the back property. So if someone cuts through my yard, because part of mine is a gully and people can cut through, and other neighbors, there's a big drop.
He says he's going to
Sounds
fill
like
it
a
in.
safety issue to me.
But in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to fill it in, where is the safety netting if somebody comes outside? Part of my yard is fenced in, but a part of my yard is not fenced in. Where is the safety for the children who cut through, that play in that cut through? We all know kids. They go where they want to go.
Madam Chair, I would be very interested if you go to the building department and bring that up.
Yeah.
Because that's their responsibility.
I mean, I watch them.
No, what I'm saying is this, I would follow this myself if you don't get a response that there's safety, if there's a safety issue, and I've been out there, and no one enforces that, so that you don't have somebody falling off from your property getting hurt. That's just, as a citizen of this community, I'd want to make sure that the building department took care of you folks out there, but we can't.
Right. So I just want it known that there is no safety netting there or anything, that if somebody cuts through any of that property, there's a 12-foot drop.
And we weren't aware that that was going to be the case, or maybe we would
Noreen,
have.
in the conditions, aren't you
Conditions.
supposed to fence the property?
And I mean, I just.
Like safety?
Mr. Geary does septic, and
I mean, I have no
the
problem
guy-
coming
the
down
guy
and talking
can,
to Gary tomorrow.
Can run a level, I think. So I'm just very confused here as to what actually is going on. But
And if we get rain, is that going to wash out part of my yard? Like, there's a 12-foot drop.
well, Might be
Talk
6
to the
feet after
building
sunset.
Where's the siltation?
Well,
area?
yeah, it might be, but the point is, we get a massive rainstorm, and it's gonna wash.
We're going to contact.
Okay,
We will.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to the,
Back to the bathroom.
Anybody else? Back to the bathroom. You guys all set? Any other questions? You all set to vote, or? You guys have any other questions on the bathroom?
I have no questions, thank you.
Tony, you good? Everybody good?
I just want the I want to be assured, if for some reason the board approved this, I've got all this, he's got all this open space, and you can't conject that he's going to do something with it, other than it's going to be used for something we wouldn't normally have approved in the past. And that's not what mediation was about at the time.
Everybody's going to ask for this.
Yeah.
If we approve
You got to be
this.
careful with this.
Everybody's going to ask for one. Don't think it won't be that way.
All right, so we have a request for a
Insubstantial change
insubstantial change.
of
no, it's modification.
one bathroom only. They've withdrawn the request from management office.
Is that a motion, Frank? Can be.
All right, I'd make a motion that it's an insubstantial change, and it can be approved, subject to Board of Health approval if necessary.
We have a motion.
I
We have a
won't second that.
Not me. You'll second it?
I'll second it for the purposes to allow
We have a
discussion.
motion and a second. Motion second. Any further discussion?
I just think we have mediation, we agreed to something, and it's kind of got turned on its head. I fully understand, we want the workers to have a place to use the washroom, but it's not what we negotiated, and I feel it's a little bit in bad faith.
We're
All
going
right.
to read the regulations that they can come back for insubstantial change 25 times if they want to.
We can say no 25
I
times.
know, but they can come back 25 times.
Yes.
They're
Well,
not
maybe
limited.
they'll get sick of us eventually.
So let's vote tonight. All those in favor of the insubstantial change, say aye. All those against? Unanimous,
No.
unanimously? You're a yes?
No.
5 noes?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will get a letter off, too, on that.
Well, I sent an email to
Oh, okay.
the,
I don't like
Building
when
department.
something's not safe like that at all. That's not
I
cool.
sent an email to
You should, if you want to,
I know, I got
everybody wants to hear. I mean, there's people at home. They're,
I'm not exactly quiet or soft-spoken.
how you,
All right, thanks, guys, for coming out.
But yeah, so that's, like I said, I did send a letter, an email to the building department, because I
Okay.
figured it's past your purview. But when they dropped the 12-foot grade, and I left it alone, it was like, okay, you could backfill it. Not likely, but you could, because it's a substantial amount of fill they took out of there in trailer dumps. But, and it went to PA Landers, it went to Lynch, and it went to Cape Cod Aggregate.
now what was the quality of that stuff, just out of curiosity?
Pure
Because
sand.
It's just pure sand?
Pure sand, no grit, no rocks, no stumps.
No.
We won't talk about
No
stumps.
topsoil?
No loam?
No top, well, no, there was the topsoil they scraped off that they called it topsoil, but I wouldn't call it topsoil.
Yeah.
That went out too, that went to Lynch. All the topsoil was taken out and taken to Lynch.
And now,
And I asked the driver who was
We
hauling
shouldn't
it
be
out.
talking about this after they've left.
Okay, I know, but
All right, let's move
I'm
on,
just saying,
guys.
it's a substantial drop.
Thank you. All right, Noreen, are we doing minutes?
Minutes for January 8 and 15.
All right, I'll make a motion to, has everybody read January 8th and 15th? I will make a motion to approve January 8th and January 15th, 2026 minutes. I need a second. Second from Scott. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, none. We did 2. Board discussion? You'll send a letter off, Noreen, on that, please. Anybody else have anything, board discussion? No. Board updates?
Yeah, one. Just remind you, Madam Chairman of the Board, I will not be here at the next meeting. I'll be happy to send a email picture of me down in the tropics that day. Hope it doesn't get too cold in my absence.
We want a 50 SP.
I think we need a change of venue for
Yeah.
the meeting.
Oh, if it rains on your sunburn.
Zoning administrator updates.
Two recent administrative approvals, one for 52 East Harbor Drive. They are replacing their rear deck exactly as is, and then a slight bump out of their existing living room over an existing deck. And then 38 Sunset Point is replacing and reconfiguring their front deck.
All right.
Is that the one we approved several months ago? On the corner?
Did something on Sunset Point Road, yeah.
Yeah, the one on the corner.
Yeah, different property.
Those are nice properties, I recall.
Yeah.
All right.
Horrible view.
Future agenda items? Anybody? All right, Mark.
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair. When are we
Our
meeting
next
again?
meeting is on February 5th at 6 PM. We have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None.